I'm the president of the Toronto Mission, and I'm going to introduce you to our speaker today. So, for the past 17 years, he is the creator and host of the popular television show Miles of Music, which has had over 300 celebrity guests. And he has hosted lots of fundraisers for PBS and New Jersey Network. And he has been featured on national TV, performing for BET on studio jams. And he has even recorded as a composer and musician for Grammy Award-winning CDs. So let's give a warm welcome to Bob Miles.
Thank you so very much. It's my honor to be here. You're also young and beautiful. You are. I once was young, not beautiful, but I was young and stupid. And the reason I'm here is because God has shown me so much mercy. Deprecating way about celebrities, but why we should be detached from this world. And you still have a chance. You're young. You should be detached. That's one common thread besides love. And love covers every sin. It covers a multitude of sins, loving one another. But the one thing we should do, and all saints say this, is complete detachment from this world. And it's one of the hardest things I've had to learn. And I am always working towards that every day. I picked this up at Padre Pio's out in Bartow. If you get a chance, Bartow's not that far from here. It's oil. I'm passing it around. You can choose to. You won't pick up anything other than a blessing. I chase my daughters at night to put this on their heads. And my one daughter says, "Get away from me, get away. Here comes the oil." So many times I can't get to them. So I'll put it on their doorpost. And I want to pass this around. You can or cannot put this on your head. The only thing you'll catch is a blessing, okay? Please pass that around. Standing before you is a man who has been forgiven for many sins. I'm not the person who said that. I plagiarized that. Pope Francis said that. And the interviewer said, "Why would you say that? You've sinned, you're the Pope. Popes don't sin." And he looked at the interviewer and his response was, "Really? Really? I don't think it's all that unusual to say I'm a sinner." I want you to look to the person to your left and the person to your right and know that person is a sinner and in need of mercy. We are all sinners, aren't we? We are all sinners. So, somebody asked Pope Francis, and he said there was no particular defining moment for this inspiration for the Jubilee year. In fact, he said he never trusts himself or his first instinct. He's usually wrong, which is a great thing because we should not have self-sufficiency. We should just rely everything on the Lord. So he waited on the Lord, and he prayed, and he prayed, and he prayed. And finally, at a round table discussion, a year or two later, all the bishops came together. And they said, humanity is wounded. And we are. Look at today. Look at the news. Look at what's happening to this world. It seems like it's falling apart. But newsflash, it's always been that way. We're just experiencing it now because we're living among it. But it's always been falling apart. And prayer and God keeps us together. Always. So he said, one of the participants said, let's have a year where the church is open and we're not so separate. We're not so holy. We're not so detached from other religions, from people, and they can enter. We're an emergency care. Do you ever drive down the street and you see a CVS and you see an emergency care? Well, that's how the Pope wants us to look at churches, that we can go into any church, especially cathedrals, shrines, the Shrine of Czestochowa, any shrine, and they're the holy doors. The Basilica and the Vatican, they're open for anyone to enter and bow down. But I like to take it further. I like to take this year and just drill into you as much as possible that we need to have mercy on ourselves, on each other, and daily. And one of the things I like to speak about is church in general. You know, I'll go to church with my family, and we always have peace be with you. We stand up, we kiss each other or shake hands, and you'll look that person in the eye and they'll say, peace be with you. You get out in your car, you're trying to get out in traffic, and that person who you just shook their hand pretends you're not there, and they won't let you in. And I say to my wife, was I just shaking that person's hand? So we have to have mercy to forgive people like that, but we do it ourselves. When you get out in the real world, and let's say you're late for work, and your boss says, you know what, for me, my name's Bob. Bob, I forgive you. I forgive you for that. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I have a boss like that. Beautiful person. Beautiful. And then a week later, you're wanting to go somewhere, and your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your spouse is running late, and you get really upset, and you don't show mercy. Well, guess what? That's akin to the parable of where the man who owed the debt to the king, and the king forgave him, and then the man went out to the street and somebody owed him money, and he would not forgive that person. You have to show mercy because somebody showed mercy to you. You have to live mercy. It's a very hard thing. We're a work in progress. And even today, when I'm driving, this is a guarantee for every one of you. If you're driving and you're thinking about somebody yelled at you or cut you off in traffic, look to your left or look to your right, and I can guarantee you, you will see Mother Mary in a grotto on somebody's porch looking right at you. I've had it happen over and over and over and over. She's always with you. She is always with you. And Christ and God is always with you, no matter what you go through. I've had my best friend commit suicide. I've had guitar students commit suicide. I lost my brother a few years ago. Let me ask, may I please have a raise of hands? How many people are children of divorced parents here? Please, if you will. None of you? That's a beautiful thing. That's beautiful. When you look at this art, you just don't look at it. It all has significance behind it. It has great significance. His eyes are merged with those of man. Christ sees with the eyes of Adam, and Adam with the eyes of Christ. Do you see the middle eye, how they're combined? Well, Christ is looking down at the new Adam, and the new Adam is looking up at Christ. Christ sees with the eyes of Adam, and Adam with the eyes of Christ. Every person discovers in Christ the new Adam, one's own humanity, and the future that lies ahead contemplating in his gaze the year and the love of the Father. The scene is captured with the so-called mandoria. The shape of the almond is almond-shaped, a figure quite important in the early and medieval iconography. It calls to mind the two names of Christ, divine and human.
And I wanted to thank Mr. Bob Miles, definitely for sharing your incredible story with us. And just as a reflection from what I heard from him, oftentimes, as he's saying, there's a disconnect between what happens in our church and what happens in our lives. Even the way we may say something in church and say something different outside. Or we may act a certain way within the church community and then act very differently outside. But as Mr. Miles is telling us, and through his story, what he's sharing is that as long as church is at the center, then everything will be okay. Even if you're in a place like Hollywood, where there's so much other things that go on that challenge your own beliefs sometimes. But you can still remain strong as long as your faith is strong. So let's give Mr. Bob Miles another round of applause.